one client I have where they actually called me at $0. They had not sold a thing yet and had me come in and work with their leadership team. I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, and I was kind of like, I wonder if this is going to work out for them. Like, they haven't sold anything yet. Well, needless to say, that question was answered. I believe their goal this year is like $2.5 billion in revenue.
Wow.
And this company is only 4 years old.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. What does it take to become a bold leader? Our guest today is Kimberly Svoboda, the CEO of Aspiration Catalyst. Her mission is to empower bold leaders worldwide to build high-performing teams that are excuse-proof and goal-crushing. Kim spent 25 years building businesses from $0 to millions at high-growth technology firms such as CDW, Adobe, US Cellular, and Insight, and has deep expertise in leadership, sales, operations, strategy, and what it takes to build powerful teams and sustain high performance.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, Kim.
Thank you so much, Michael and Tanya. I'm so glad to be here with you.
So glad to be here with you. And a big shout out to our friend Jim Rohrbach for introducing us to such an awesome lady.
He's the best.
Jim is the best.
Yeah.
All right. We've got 7 questions for you today, and we're going to start with this one. Who or what influenced you the most when it relates to what you're doing today?
Oh, my goodness. That's such a big question, isn't it? So the work I'm doing today, it really centers around leadership and high performance teams. And I think, if I look back to my past, I had so many great examples of wonderful leadership, starting with my parents. I think our parents influence us a lot. My dad and my mom are both great leaders themselves. So that, I think that maybe got me started off at an early age and really admiring great leadership. And I think my career, working in amazing powerhouse technology companies. I work with so many high performing people. I learned so much from so many people around me. And I think I've always been sort of a student. And so people would start to tell me about books like, hey, Kim, you should read this book on leadership and you should read that book on leadership. And then it's like the fire just kept, being ignited by all, these great stories of leaders that had, come before me and, come before all of us. So I think that's what got me started on the journey. I just really love it.
Yeah, what's interesting about that, Kim, is that everybody can make suggestions to you, but only a real leader is going to actually take those suggestions and do something with it. That's right?
True.
We've got to admit that. Or we can.
That is true. You can study all you want, but if you don't do, then nothing gets done. So
that's so true. Right. And some don't even study, right?
Yeah. So, there's that too.
Yeah. So that
I already know enough, right? Like that's how's that working out for you?
That's so true, right? Instead of I know enough of what I want to know today. I can't take any more today, right?
Yeah.
I've said that myself.
That can happen. That can happen.
Yeah. So what is the one thing, Kim, that you want to be known for in the leadership coaching space?
I think the most important thing to me is to make a difference for others. I really want to help others get better. I think maybe it was when I was a Girl Scout, like we learned you're supposed to leave everything better than you found it. And that's what we try to do. And it's not about, I think, you have to be careful with that. Like, what does that mean? Like your version of better, is that equal someone else's version of better? Mm-hmm. And the distinction I want to make there is I want people to be a better version of their authentic selves. Like I want them to help them achieve what they want to achieve. So that I think is the mission that Aspiration Catalyst has. And, I and my team have the honor of working with just incredible clients across the United States where we are able to help them unleash the power of their authenticness, right? When we're being ourselves is where we are the strongest.
Agreed. That's a great takeaway. What are some of the warning signs that someone needs your services?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think, hopefully they recognize it themselves. So self-awareness,
student.
that's a good one, right? Like, hey, I need help. And most of the time, I would say the people that we work with, they know that they need to be better. They want to be better. They may not know how. Maybe they don't feel like they have time to like slow down and stop and sort of retool. So I think that self-awareness piece is really critical. I think also like when, a lot of times those of us lucky to be in jobs where we actually get feedback, we'll hear it like, hey, here's what I used to get all the time. Kim, you're so good at, creating something new and communicating this vision, but your detail management, your analytical skills, they kind of stink and you really need to work at it. Right. And it was almost like the boss from the previous job was calling the new boss because they all said the same thing. I think it was because it was so obvious, right? But I was like, you must all be talking to each other. And so, if you keep hearing something, like there might be something to that. What one person says doesn't make it true, but if you hear it many times, then it's probably right something that you need to look at. And I always try to think about when someone gives you feedback, especially like constructive criticism, think about how hard it was for them to give that to you. Like, put some weight in that, right? Like, thank you for caring enough about me to say something, right? We might have to fight that urge to like fight it off or protect ourselves or be defensive. And I've definitely fallen guilty of that myself in the past. But I think if you keep hearing the same thing over and over again, that's probably a really good indication of something that you need to work at. There's also this piece around like when we're scaling and growing businesses. Marshall Goldsmith, right, world famous executive coach, said, "What got you here won't get you there." That is also true. As businesses grow and scale, we need to get better. So I think the best leaders are always learning and they look for opportunities for growth and development.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. So who are you best suited to serve?
Well, we work with a variety of clients, but I grew up in technology, as you guys noted, right, in my bio. And so we love working with high growth technology companies. It's so much fun. The pace is very fast. We're very used to that. My team, a lot of the people have a background in technology as well. So we like to work with the CEO and their senior leadership team. And we do two things. We help them work better together as a team. So we bring that C-suite together so that they can go far together. And then the other thing we do is we develop their leaders that are up and coming so that as the business grows and scales, we can help them take on higher levels of responsibility, larger teams, increase their scope and span of control.
Oh, that's awesome. You can never prepare too early or often, right?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes clients will call us. Like there's one client I have where they actually called me at $0. They had not sold a thing yet and had me come in and work with their leadership team. I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, and I was kind of like, I wonder if this is going to work out for them. Like they haven't sold anything yet. Well, needless to say, that question was answered. I believe their goal this year is like $2.5 billion in revenue.
Wow.
And this company is only 4 years old. Yeah. Wow. So sometimes they bring you in very early, which is great. And then other times they might have waited a little too long. And then our work is a little bit more difficult. We kind of have to, clear the path a little bit and, get rid of some of the baggage that's been built up. But that's okay too, right? Both journeys are very, important, and we're happy to partner with, right, either one.
Yeah. So the takeaway there is, don't wait till the 25th time that you hear the same thing. When you hear it about 3 to 4 times, call Kim.
Exactly. Right. I'm happy to help.
Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
Well, what qualifies you? I mean, obviously, we read a little bit of your bio and fantastic background, but what if you want to get specific, what qualifies you to serve them?
Well, I think that's a good question. So, it's funny. I worked in Fortune 500 companies, but the first one I worked for wasn't a Fortune 500 company when I started there. It was actually a smaller business. And I was there for about 18 years. And so I got to be like part of this amazing growth. And I think I understand what makes really successful companies work, what makes them successful. And a lot of times it's actually learning from the things that you did wrong, right? So you're like, oh, we don't do that anymore because this happened, right? So sometimes it's like gathering all those experiences up of things that we screwed up. But also, I think I have a unique perspective. When I worked in this big company, I started up new businesses. So I was the person they came to. In fact, I remember the first time the president of the company came to me. I think I was 25 years old, maybe 26. And he said, I want to promote you to a leadership role, and I'd like you to start up this new division. And I'm like, you want me? Are you crazy? Like, I don't know anything, right? And he was like, no, you'll be fine. You'll figure it out. And I'm like, okay. And so because I was so nervous and I felt like I didn't know anything, I would bring him my list of things that I needed decisions on every day. And he humored me like the first couple of times. And then finally, like the third time, he took my list, he picked it up, he moved it over to the side of his desk, and he puts his arms down and he says, Kim, if I have to make all the decisions here, one of us isn't needed. Oh, I was like, you want me to make the decisions? And he's like, yep. And I go, what if I screw up? And he goes, you can beg for forgiveness. I'm like, okay.
I love it.
And
that's a leader.
It was great. It was so great, right? And I certainly did. I had to beg for forgiveness more than once. But I learned so much. It was absolutely amazing. I became the person in that company who started up new things. So every job I had never happened before, had never been created. I got to create it. And so back to answer your question, Michael, long story short, I think the reason why I and my team are so qualified to work with companies is we've been there, done that. We've taken things and we've from $0 and grown them. So we're very entrepreneurial, but we also understand the rigor of a larger organization and how that structure and the processes and the systems actually make it all work. So I think we've got just a lot of, varied experiences that our clients really appreciate. Over 95% of our clients come back and buy from us again and again.
That's great.
Oh, that's a huge plus.
Yeah.
Because
hopefully they're always growing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Always that next thing.
And that's a testament to your expertise too. So, and you may have already answered this in one form or another, Kim, but what makes you unique in this space, if you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, thanks, Tanya. So I think the one thing that really makes us stand out is we really focus on leveraging the strengths of each person. I'm a Clifton Strengths certified coach, and I discovered it in my time of pain. So I was in a job that I had no business being in. Remember when I told you about how Kim wasn't so good at analytical and I kept getting all the feedback on that? Well, one boss talked me into taking over and starting up sales operations. And what do you think sales operations does? It is like a lot of analytical, details. It was the hardest job I'd ever had. And so I am like banging my head against the wall, trying to get better at all this analytical stuff. And I worked super hard at it. And I went from terrible to just pretty bad. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I happened to turn on Oprah one night, and she has Marcus Buckingham on. And he's talking about how we're doing it all wrong. We should be instead investing in our talents and turning them into strengths. And then we get exponential growth versus trying to fix our weaknesses, and our growth is incremental. And I was like, you are talking to me right now. I need you. What do I do? And so I took the Clifton Strengths assessment, and I discovered that I didn't have analytical in my top talents. Shocker. And so I needed to focus on being strategic, communication, right? All these things that I brought to the table. And once I flipped it and I started playing to my strengths, everything got better. When I gave it to my team and they started playing to their strengths, it was a total game changer. And all our performance went up dramatically. And I was like, this is the thing. So every company, every team I worked for and led after that, I brought this methodology in. So of course, when I started Aspiration Catalyst, I was like, we're using strengths. So I think this is our key differentiator, in that we focus on what actually makes people great, and we help them make it even better. I was with a group, a couple years ago, and I saw the guy sitting back like this. He's kind of got his arms crossed. And I said, any questions before we go any further? I'd probably talked for like 15, 20 minutes. And he raises his hand. He goes, So when's the part when you're going to tear us apart and break us all down so that, you can build us better again? And I'm like, oh, is that what you were expecting today? We're not doing that. So if that's disappointing to you, I'm sorry, but that's not what we're doing. He's like, no, I'm all in. This is great. What do you mean? I don't have normally.
I don't get berated.
Yeah, normally it's like
Right.
pain and all this suffering, and then you sort of shine the light on us at the end. I'm like, we're going to do that from the very beginning, because that is actually what's going to make you stronger and more successful, in my experience.
I agree with it 100%. I'm actually a beekeeper, and it is a philosophy that most beekeepers do. You don't strengthen the weak hives with the strong ones. You give whatever resources of the weak ones to the strong ones.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's the same thought process,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
it also
wish more
goes-
people would do it. Like think that way. But
It also goes back to your comment about authenticity. It's just like you're authentically stronger at these things. So why not embrace that and build upon it?
Yes.
it was funny. My daughter's an equestrian. She's in high school, and she went to a clinic this weekend, and they had an a former Olympic rider there coaching them. And it was amazing to watch. I mean, because he's like at such a high level. But what he said, I thought was so impactful. He's like, breathe, relax, stop pushing. You know what to do, right? Like he was totally like helping them like regulate and like calm down. And I feel like so many times we try to strain against, we try to, do something that we're not maybe designed to do. We go in the other direction and we try to force something. And the answer is almost always, right, to be in this place where you're strong. And how do you reinforce that and go from there? And it was like, there it is again. Yeah. In the equestrian ring. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Great
and over
analogy,
again. That's
though.
awesome. Well, here's a question for you. What would most people be surprised to learn about you that they cannot learn through social media?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. What would they be surprised that they couldn't see? You can learn everything through social media now. What would it be? I think we did something pretty cool. Maybe I'll mention that. So back in 2015, my family and I traveled the world. We visited 5 continents and 26 countries over the course of 8 months. And that was in between corporate America and then me starting Aspiration Catalyst. And it actually helped me start Aspiration Catalyst because I'm like, if I'm brave enough to leave everything and travel the world for 8 months, surely I can start my own business. And that's what I did. But that experience was amazing.
No doubt.
Wow.
Big applause here. We're travelers ourselves.
You are.
But never been able to do like a long,
a long stretch like
after
that
month
yet.
after month type yet. And but no, kudos for that. Because there's no better education.
No.
There's no better education.
So Michael, I would say just plan it. Make a plan, right? Set a goal. So we had actually set our goal further into the future, but all of a sudden the opportunity came up for us to do it earlier. I looked at my husband, I go, I think we should go now. And he's like, okay, let's do it.
Let's go.
So we went to the school and said, all right, we're taking the kids out. We only took them out really for like 1 semester, which was, I think, probably good because neither my husband nor I were going to be very good teachers for them. But the school was like, don't worry about all this. We'll catch them up when they come back. They were 7 and 11 at the time. And they said, what you're going to teach them being out on the road like that, we could never teach them right in school. So yeah, that was very reassuring. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, Kim, we're coming to a close here, sadly, but have a final question for you. What's the next step the audience should take to learn more about you and about doing business with you?
Yeah. So I have the most amazing team of executive coaches that I am very grateful to work with. And if you want to learn more about us, you can just go to our website at www.aspirationcatalyst.com. And all of our programs are listed out there. How to get in touch with us is on there. And if you're looking to invest in your leadership team and your, peer team, we would love to help you because that's our passion, is to help leaders get better and be bold leaders like your bold podcast here. So I think, that's the best way to get in touch with us. The other thing, I'm writing a book. I think I might have mentioned that to you. So The Adventure of Bold Leadership will be released in November. Very excited. It's been a long time coming. So that'll be another way to link in with the way that we are hoping to impact the world and make the world a better place through empowering more leaders.
Oh, congratulations on
Yes.
that. We know how hard that is to all pull together. That's fantastic, Kim.
Yeah.
And
Thank
you're
you.
fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Oh, you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. You made it fun and easy, and I wish you all the best. And thanks to Jim for putting us together.
Ready to change how you're seen and charge what you're worth? If you're not getting enough opportunities to meet with ideal customers, or the prospects you're meeting with just aren't ideal, it's most likely your brand that's holding you back. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert who is on the rise, you need our ultimate guide to a freedom-based brand. Download it free now at brandfaceguide.com.